Good evening, everybody. I'm very happy to be here with you today. Today, it's a very important topic. We are going to talk about I am not a body, discovering your worth beyond appearance. This is something really, really interesting. I was thinking today, actually, I was thinking that it's interesting for everybody in our society. So we are all, in a certain way, affected by how we perceive our body and how our body is perceived. So let's start, first of all, introducing myself. I'm Alessandro Carmelita. I'm a psychologist, a psychotherapist. I'm Italian, and I've been trained by some of the best experts in the world: Jeffrey Young for schema therapy, Sue Johnson for emotionally focused therapy, Diana Fosha for the accelerated experiential dynamic psychotherapy, and 13 years ago, I developed together with Marina Cirio the mindful interbeing mirror therapy, a new approach that was defined as revolutionary by some of the best experts in the world. Um, Basically, we work in front of a large mirror together with the clients. So I want also to say thank you for to Close by You for hosting our events. Close by You is the free community. If you are not registered yet, please register because it's free and you have many advantages in registering to this community. Some of the advantages are the fact that you can have access to free tools. First of all, you can have access to a video library in which you have now 26 webinars, video recorded, on very, very interesting topics. I know that today we have many new people. I mean, it's the first time that many people are attending to our events. So I wanna say welcome to all of you, and I want to really invite you to register soon to Close by You. So you could also have the ebook library in which you have some free ebooks about the emotional, relational, and psychological issues. There's one specifically on identifying all the different psychological, relational, emotional problems and how to work with these problems. I'm very happy to say that on online in on your dashboard you can also have access to a free self-assessment questionnaire. You can fill the questionnaire online from your computer or from your phone, and when you finish, you receive the results. In terms of schemas, schemas are a very important topic, a very important actually aspect of the theory of schema therapy, the approach of schema therapy, because we are until now we are talking a lot about schema therapy in our events. So you have 26 events already video recorded in which you can become a real expert in schema therapy. So you could really become expert in how recognizing your issues, emotional, psychological, and relational issues, but not only yours but also the others. And then there are also other events that are always based on schema therapy that are more not properly on psychological problems, but they are more focused on what this what how our mind is structured could affect our life. So we talk about schema therapy financial, so how our mind structure um, could affect how we perceive money and finance, and also psychology of lack. So we also explain how our mind could affect how we perceive ourselves and reality, and how this could affect our lack. Um, you will be able, as soon as they were online, to have access to these other possibilities. So several different groups, one 5 a.m. close by you club, a morning experience groups, last practice of the day, safe circle groups. Basically, safe circle groups are very similar to what we do in the second part of this event. So we meet together and we talk about several different problems that people share their own experiences, their own issues, and we do some exercises to work on these issues. Then all meet tight groups for couples to try to help couples that are really struggling. And then journaling. The journaling is already online. Many people are using every day the journaling, and it's very, very important, very useful for understanding your issues, but also to work on those issues and change. And then we are organizing events for teenagers, for parents, for teachers, for employees, and we are going to have also 1% change groups. Saturday, usually we send an email with the updates. If you register to our community, you will receive this email. And then I want to say that this is a free community, but you could still contribute in two different ways. One is uh, giving some donations, doing some donations to the website, and these donations are entirely used to develop new possibilities for all of you. And then you could also help us contribute, sharing through all your contacts the possibility to register to our community. It's for free, so it could be of help for many, many participants. The feedback that we are receiving are great. People are really telling us that just listening these webinars and participating to the second part of the events, they are having a great impact on their lives. So please share with your contacts. This is 1 hour topic. As you see, you only see me because this video is video recorded and is also live on YouTube. So um, we don't want, for your privacy, we don't want your face to appear in a video that could be seen by anyone. And at the same time, we want to give you the possibility to have access later to this video whenever you want on closebyyou.com. The second part will be not video recorded and will be on Zoom. So at the end of this video, sorry, this first part, you will be able to receive the link for the actually, if you go on Close by You, you register to Close by You, you will already see the link for Zoom on the page of the event. You see where the red circle is. So you can register also now, and you will see directly the Zoom link. You will also receive the Zoom link, I guess, through Meetup. We sent an email today, and so please stay with us for the second part. So I don't want to stay more. I don't want to take more time. So let's go to the second part of the event. So sorry, to the not the second part of the event. Let's start the event, and we are going to talk, as I was saying, about how we can recognize our true value beyond the body, because for how we have been raised in our society, and all our society is really structured now, our value is really based on how we appear, is really based on our body and what we are able to really show to ourselves and to others. So this is something really important. Once it was just for women, but now it's for everybody. Actually, everybody are really judged and give to themselves um, value if they have a certain kind of body. So what we are trying to do is not really trying to earn love, but actually we learn from since we were very very little from our very uh, restricted environment in our family, and then also when we started to live in the reality, in the environment, sorry, in the environment, also from all the others, from all the messages that are coming from others, from all the different relationships, since we are very little, very also um, very little children, to really link our human um, worth to our appearance, as I was saying. So we are trying to earn worth, trying to modify our body. So if you ever uh, um, if you have ever avoided mirrors yourself repeatedly before going out, compare your body to someone else's, felt less confident because of weight, shape, or age, you need to be aware that this is not really superficial, but it's responding to something that is much, much deeper inside of you. So, in general, there is an invisible sentence, something that we are repeating to ourselves that is really a core belief in ourselves. So I'm not enough like this, nothing enough, not muscular enough, not young enough, not attractive enough. So this sentence, this core belief, this really feeling, deep feeling inside of ourselves, it's not really appearing randomly. It's not something that it happens to be there like that, but it's something that we learn. We learn since we were very, very little, directly from messages that were given explicitly to us, but also implicitly through the different relationships and the different people. Also, the examples that that we are living with when we are children, and so on, and all the different messages from society, from the society in general. So I know that many of you are here, and obviously you are sensitive to this topic. And I've been working with eating disorders for 25 years. Actually, I started eating disorders were one of the problems that I've been trained um, for when I was really at the beginning of my career. And I was trained by some of the best experts in the world, actually, in cognitive therapy. Then I learned schema therapy. So I integrated several different things. So I had the possibility to really know so many girls, but not only girls, also boys, that were really affected by this worth, personal worth that was so connected to the body and to the shapes, to the weight, to the control that they had on the body, and so on. So there was always a reason. It seemed that usually they were coming to therapy not really Mm, not really motivated. In general, the only certain people were motivated for reasons that they were losing control. They were maybe binge eating and losing control, so they wanted me to help them to try to work on these things. But they were also feeling very ashamed about that. But many girls that were developing, that developed actually anorexia, they really were not so motivated to the therapy, and they were actually forced in the majority of the cases, forced by the families, for by the parents, by um, yeah, all the people that were living with them. um, and I saw the how terrible these problems are, and how these problems can really affect all their lives. So actually the life was really in many ways ruined by these very strong problems. And not only psychologically but also physically, they were destroying their body because of this body image and this fear of gaining weight and or not being able to lose weight and need to control everything to check the body continuously and to do so many different things. And all these problems, every time these problems were happening, I mean, we had parents bringing them, but they were actually happening not randomly as we was saying, but for a deep reason. So usually these problems started with a kind of a preparation of the problem. So I'm going to talk about this. So the brain and the mind was structured in a way that then at a certain point the theme of body weight, body shapes, and value connected to body and body shapes became so connected. Uh, and then, so the original structure, then this theme on this original structure prepared the problem, and then at a certain moment, a trigger event occurred, and then they actually showed all their problems in once. So everything starts, and then from that moment, they always have a clear, clear thought, a clear remember. They are able to remember clearly a moment in which they were developing a certain problem. Obviously, the problem was already structured before, and usually someone commented on their weight, or they were compared to someone else. The beauty received attention, so they were actually seeing that the people were looking at them. They were really giving attention to their body, and so that was something that creates a great anxiety in all those girls, and especially when they started to grow up to to become um, to become women really, and then they the different shapes, and people started to notice the fact that they were growing up, the body was changing, and so that could be a moment of great anxiety. And then they could also they could also feel um, that nobody was really understanding or seeing them emotionally. And in many times, there was also there were moments in which they were teased for their shapes, or for their weight, or for their body in general. So not only girls, I remember so many boys for the same kind of with the same kind of problem. I remember one boy, very thin boy, and he was feeling so different from the others. The people were teasing him, and he was feeling different from others, less than others, with less value, and so on. So at a certain moment, he had to try to survive to this problem, and he developed a certain disturb, um, psychological and emotional problem. So the body became the place where they tried to fix insecurity. So insecurity for that is was based on, as I was saying, on a structure of their mind that was already there, and we are going to explain that. But before doing that, I want to really invite you to go on Close by You, register there for free, and go to the page, to the events page, and check for the Zoom link, and you will be able to have access to the second part of the event, not video recording, which you will be able to share also your eventually your feedback, your issues, whatever you want. It's a great opportunity. People love that, and this opportunity has usually a very great impact on people. So obviously, we were saying this: the mind was already structured, And we when we think about that, we think about the environment where the children were raised. So the family first of all, and then we really look at the relationships with the significant others, so usually parents, or not only parents, also grandparents, or siblings, or uncles, aunts. So it could be even a broader environment, but it's the family that usually has a narrative inside of the family, as and also has a view, a family view of things. And family usually is also the what is in between the word and the child. So they filter the messages of the society, and they are also affected by these messages. And then they give these messages from the society, they give these messages to the children in a way that is always related to how the parents are, if they have problems, if they have no problems, if they are have certain kind of ideas, or so on. So many messages could be direct, like you gain weight, you should look better. I remember, these messages could be this is just a very polite way in a certain way, compared to other ways. I remember parents saying, you should feel ashamed of yourself. Uh, Go and cover yourself. If you go out, cover yourself. Put different trousers, or different, or cover your body, because you should feel ashamed. Don't you see how fat you are? Don't you see how ugly you are? Things like this. These are very terrible messages, obviously, that you could give to a child. Or sometimes there are siblings, and there are every child is different, so they could compare children's. And they but the thing is that uh, many families have this attention on body, on on shapes, and they give these messages, and these messages are not really only messages about the body. They perceive Children have the capacity to perceive also what others are feeling. Actually, all of us have the capacity to really perceive uh, feelings that others could have. So also through the nonverbal, through the expressions in the faces, or through the tone of voice, or the way the person says certain things, these messages could be accompanied by emotions, like sometimes by disgust, or something like that, because maybe also the parents, also the significant others, have their own problems, their own insecurities, and they are just behaving in a way without really realizing that, or maybe also thinking that they are helping the child to to be better, or to do better. They give these messages, and we need to also to understand that that parents are also human beings, and they are also affected by all these messages that are coming from everywhere, from really everywhere, about body, value, and so on. So obviously they propose the same things, and they could have anxiety about that. They could think, oh, my child has to be in a certain way. He has to win. He has to be strong. He has to be successful. And obviously, our society is really focusing on really uh, putting success and body and weight together. So this could also be something. And um, and usually the another message that is really important in family is that if someone has a certain shape or a certain weight, is because they are not really well behaved, or they don't do the right things. They eat too much. They have no strong willing. They don't want to change, or they are lazy, or so on. So they many things are really um, connected to being overweight, or being or not even being overweight, because many times we're not even talking about being overweight, but it's the weight is compared to the image, I the cultural ideal of beauty that it's always proposed to us. So obviously, if a woman, but also a man, compare himself or herself to this cultural ideal of the beauty of the body, how the body should be, we are all losing. We are all failing, and we are not um, we are not like we were supposed to be. And obviously, if we're not like we were supposed to be, and the value is also connected to our body, our shapes, and our weight, then we are failing as also for our value. And many times for many people, then they stop really thinking about the value. They stop really thinking about emotions and all many different other ingredients, relational ingredients, and they just focus on body, on shapes, because obviously it's much easier to think that we could, if we want, if we really put all the efforts, we could really have the possibility to control the weight. That also it's really something um not natural, really. And we could talk days and days about that, because we all have a natural weight. So it's in our genes, it's already decided. And obviously the difficult thing that really don't give us the opportunity to understand that is that if we eat a lot, we can gain weight. If we eat less, we can lose weight. But if we go back to a normality or to a normal diet, then our genes, our body pushes us to go back to our natural weight. So this is, and also, I really smile when I see all these advertisement. They say, "Oh, do use this cream, and you are going to lose this fat in your abdomen, or these other things in your body." And it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So um there are so many different things. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to focus more on the psychological aspect. So the family messages, I was saying, are many different, but I just wrote here: you gain weight, you should look better. And others could be indirect. So appearance gets praised, and imagine all the girls that are always said since they were very very little, "Oh, you're so beautiful, you're so beautiful, look how beautiful you are, you're wonderful, and always it's about that, and all the attention and all the praise is all about that. And actually, um I can see also these women that for our society are seen as incredible beautiful incredibly beautiful, and they live like a kind of in a kind of a prison sometimes, because beauty is the only thing that really matters to people around, and they are really in a trap. They are in this prison. The beauty is in this prison. I remember one professional. She was a dietitian, and she was she started to collaborate with me. When the first time I saw her, she came to me and she looked like a top model. Like she was really. She had this body that looks like a classic top model, but um, she was she was very lucky, because in her family, the parents were not really focusing on, "Oh, you're so beautiful," but they tried to really help her to integrate several aspects of herself. And so she really um, she really grew up thinking about herself, that she was very intelligent, she was very sensitive, she was very compassionate, she had so many different other qualities. And so she was giving value to herself, thinking about different other qualities she had, and not really giving too much attention to her body. She was not really focused on her body, and so that was really something interesting for me to see. And that was really really rare, I think, in our society. Performance gets love, so many times girls are really focused, for the girls the praise is, oh, you are so beautiful. For men or for boys is, oh, you are so good, you're doing great, you're you're a wonderful footballer, you're wonderful, look how good you are in this sport, and so on. So it's more on performance. But now things are changing a bit, so there are many different in between situations, and then vulnerability gets ignored. So mm, many times is uh, the environment is an environment in which the emotions, the inner reality is really not seen, and it's more appearance. And so there's obviously we have needs inside, emotional needs, and we need to be seen emotionally, recognized emotionally, and we need to receive many different nurtures, um, um, for our needs, emotional needs. So the child learns, my body determines my value. This is something automatic, something that happens in the time, and it's reinforced, always reinforced, reinforced, and it's reinforced also by the society. One thing that we need to understand is that once we create like an imprint, then we tend to reinforce that. And we are talking about ma- a topic that we are going to explain soon in one of the next slides. That it's we develop what schema therapy calls schemas, maladaptive schemas. So there's also a cultural pressure, as I was saying. Our culture constantly reinforces thin equals discipline, as I was saying. Not only things a thing, but also um, gaining muscles, going to the gym, having a certain kind of habits. So it's all about discipline, discipline, discipline. So youth equals value. This aspect is something that is really spreading around in an incredible way, and so no one wants to get old. No one wants to have wrinkles. No one wants to see white hair, or and so on. I mean, no one wants to see a body that is slowly losing muscles, and um, that is not tonic anymore. So it's difficult to understand that we will have a space, we will have a value in this society once the time will pass. And then muscle equals power. So you, if you want to be a real man, you need to have muscles like this guy, like this boy here. And in order to have all these muscles, you need to do anything you have to do, included using certain kind of steroids or products in order to gain a certain amount of muscles. And you need to train hard every day for hours, and you develop, and then when your value is really linked to your shapes and your body weight, your fat, your mass, mass, then you you need to you need obviously your value is always at risk. And imagine to lose your value, imagine to reach a point in which you say, oh, I'm not worthy at all. How would you feel if you reach that, if you would reach that moment? I bet you would feel really depressed. You would feel so low, so down, and it would be very difficult to live, to do to keep going in your life. So the thing is that because it's a very big danger, and it's related to, as I was saying, shapes, body that is fluctuating, not only for what we are eating or what we are doing, but also for hormones, for many different things that are happening in our body, um, for our age and so on. Then we are always checking, we're always checking, and it's always at risk. It's something that we never reach. So we will never be satisfied. We will never be reach a point in which we will say, "Okay, I've done what I had to do. Now I'm fine. That's okay. I took my value, and it's gonna be like that forever." No, it's gonna be something that you will have to do always more and more, because there are several also um, physiological components that will really make everything always more and more difficult every time you try to do certain things to change your body. So um, maybe we will do another event in which I will explain all these other aspects of body, physiological aspects that are really important. um, so you will understand that it's not about just willing or discipline, or but there are many other components that are very important. So the nature goes against changing the natural weight. So it goes against that, and and we need to understand also our nature, who we are. We are all human beings, so we need to understand how we function as human beings in order to understand that it's not about all about our responsibility or what we do, but there are many different aspects. And if we really link our value to our body, our shapes, and our weight, then we are putting ourselves in a trap. And when we are in that trap, then it's very possible that we will really affect in a very bad way our life. And this is something that you need to consider, because you don't want to. I mean, you do everything you do because you want to live a better life, you want to be happy. But if this is a no end way, and actually is a very negative way, then you probably have to reconsider that. Maybe you will have to think that there are other ways to really help yourself to live a better life. So maybe you need to learn something that you were not taught about when you were a child. Maybe you really need to be curious and know yourself better, and see that there are other components, other aspects that can really be that you could really embrace and embody and feel that they are yours. And so and nobody can take them away if you don't want. And then you would have the value that you were looking for, because you feel that you are enough, like as you are. You don't have to do anything different. So but this is something that it's obviously very difficult, and we will talk a bit more about that. So we the culture pressure is really pushing us to do so many different things. Now think about the social media, and how we go through the social media and we check what the others are doing, what bodies they have. And maybe many times they, or also with AI, the images are changed, the videos are changed, and we see all these bodies that looks like, wow, incredible bodies. Look, all of them are able to do what I'm not able to do. So they are worthy, I'm not worthy. They are winning, I'm losing. I'm a loser, I'm nothing, I don't deserve love, and so on. These are all the different thoughts that can come up in our mind. And obviously they're not just thoughts. You need to think that you all all your feelings, all your emotions are affected by this perception, this distortion of reality, this also really incredible construction of um, an unnatural reality around us. So the drive for thinness and perfection. So for many women, thinness becomes a moral imperative. For many men, strength becomes identity. The message underneath is the same. If I look right, I will be safe. If I look right, I will be loved. So this is something that I was talking about. And I said to you, putting your value, your worth on body and shape is a losing game. This is a losing game. And it's not a losing game because you are not good enough. It's a losing game because it doesn't apply to the human being. This is not possible for human beings. If you do something like that, it's you're gonna condemn yourself to a miserable life. And not that you're doing this because you're bad or because you're or there's something wrong with you, but because you live in a certain environment. You were really forced to structure yourself in that way, and now you have the need to change. And you change when you start to become more aware. And when you start to become aware, that is just the first step. And then you need to do several other steps to really work on yourself. So what is really happening is uh, if we talk about schema therapy, as I was saying, I've been trained by the creator of schema therapy in New York. So we talk about schemas. And what are the schemas? Schemas are the mental lenses. So through we see reality, and we really scan reality, and we interpret reality. What am I saying? So we all have emotional needs as human beings, several emotional needs. I've been talking about this in all our webinars on Close by You. It's free. Go and watch all of them. Become an expert, because the more you are an expert, the more you can understand yourself, and the more you can start to change. So these needs, if they are not recognized in the environment where we are, where we are growing up, and they are not really met adequately, then depending on what kind of experiences we are living, then we could really start to connect certain kind of neurons in our brain. The neurons are the cells of our brain that elaborate all the informations, and they really determine everything about our emotional life, our cognitive life, and our body functioning. So and also about our physiological functioning in many ways. So um, depending on what kind of experiences we are living, if our needs are not met, then our brain starts to structure in a certain way. So these neurons starts to connect to each other, and they create like clusters of neurons. These clusters of neurons are like softwares of computers. And these software of computers, then when they are created, they start to over function. So they start to function uh, in order to push us to really scan the reality and perceive certain information in the reality. And those information, when we find those informations, then those softwares elaborate those informations depending on of what kind of experiences created originally that software, that neural connections, neural networks. And so if I was abandoned, or if I was living in an environment in which love was inconsistent, and I, as a child, I didn't know why what that was happening, then I could scan the reality. First of all, the relationships will become dangerous in a certain way, because everybody could abandon us, or everybody could be inconsistent and not give the love to us, the love that we need. So we start this software, this schema of abandonment schema, really pushes us to scan the reality in a way. We find all the information that prove to us that that thing that we are really worried about is actually happening. And when we find those informations, we elaborate those informations, and we start to feel very strong emotions, and we perceive that the other person is leaving us, or abandoning us, or not giving the love that we want. and then we feel so worried, and these emotions, no one wants to really live those emotions, feel those emotions inside. So what we learn to do is to try to manage those emotions, doing something on the reality in order to really reduce the threat, so reducing the activation of the schema, and so reducing the emotions. So we tend to do certain things on others or on the environment, or we tend to say certain things to the others or to the environment in order to make them change, so we can really modulate the activation of our schema inside of ourselves, and so modulate the expression of the emotions. So there are different kinds of schemas. Actually, we have 18 schemas depending on of what kind of experiences we really lived. And we can have schemas like, as the defective schema. So I could perceive that there's something deeply wrong in me that is really actually shameful, and I don't have to show that to anyone, otherwise no one could tolerate that. So this is a specific schema that depends on several different kind of experiences that I had in my childhood. And then we could have another schema that could be actually could be created in order to try to really mm, deal with the other schemas. So I could say I could start to develop a perfect a schema that is a high standard schemas. So unrelenting standard schema, sorry, unrelenting standard schema, and try to and this schema really pushes me to think or to feel that I must be perfect in order to gain what I want, to receive the love that I want, to receive the attention that I want. I must be perfect. So people that have this schema usually lived in an environment in which the love was not unconditional love, but was actually conditional depending on what they were doing. And then it could, we could also have a schema of approval seeking. So that schema really makes me feel that I need to receive the approval of the people that I say, or to the majority of people, and so I need to do certain things in order to receive the approval, or I'm not enough. I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. Or I could say also I'm failing. I don't have the qualities, the skills, the qualities, also physical qualities to really achieve the goals that others could achieve. So this is a failure schema. So there are many different schemas. I said to you, and if you go online on the dashboard, you have the questionnaire, and you fill the questionnaire, then you can really understand what schema you have, and then you can read one of the ebooks that is really focused on schemas, and you could understand why you have that schema, and what you could try to do with that schema. And then you could participate to our events and feel that you maybe could also do more. You could do practices, you could do several things in every webinar that I do. Usually I give several practices. I mean, I gave hundreds of different practices in all the different webinars. So you could start doing these things by yourself, and people are giving very good feedback about that. Or you could also decide that you want to do therapy. Maybe you already went to therapy, been to therapy, but sometimes the moment is not right. Magari perhaps the person is not right, but you don't have to really lose the hope and the understanding that even if you didn't, even if it didn't work before, it could work in another situation, in another moment, with another person. Uh, so I really suggest you to do your best to try to understand yourself and change what is really affecting in a negative way your life. So when you look in the mirror and feel shame, it is not the body speaking, it is the schema that is activated. But obviously, because you learn to think about everything in terms of shapes, in terms of body, then you don't think, oh, I don't have value, but you think I'm fat or I'm ugly, I'm not good, I don't look good enough, I'm short, I'm not tall enough. And there's also another component we didn't talk about that, but I want to mention that that is really really important. So we have a capacity, a very um, an innate capacity that really helped us to survive. And to so because of this capacity, human being survived in thousands of years. So what is this capacity? When there is a danger, so we look the reality, we scan reality, and so we focus on the reality in with a certain kind of worry, and this really help us in a very innate way and natural way to amplify certain things that we discover in the environment. So let's say that we are in the savannah, and we are really worried about lions, and so we start to scan the reality, and we start to smell or the smell of the lion, or hear sounds in an amplified way, so we can understand that a danger is there, and then we could run away before the lion is too close, and then it will um, kill us. um, but in our society, the danger has become our body. So when the danger is our body, then we scan our body as we would scan the savannah to find the lions, because the danger is the body, the danger is the shape, the weight, and so on. And so what it happens is that we amplify the the perceptions. So I had clients that were seeing themselves shorter than 10 centimeters and larger than 10 centimeters. Why I'm so precise? Because we were measuring everything. So they were measuring we were measuring the perception, and they were seeing themselves in a certain way. I had a client that was almost dying because she was 29 kilos. She was um, a girl, 29 kilos, and doctors were telling her that she was gonna die because she was um severe anorexic, and she was screaming and fighting with the strength that was really unexpected, because she was saying, "You are crazy because I am obese." So she was seeing herself as obese, because the perception was related to was a distortion, actually, of the reality. And and this distortion is also related to certain neurological changes that happen when we go to a severe underweight. So our brain starts to think in a different way. So I had clients thinking that even smelling, smelling the air when the mother was cooking, made them gain weight. So the the distortion is not just distortion, but sometimes comes to a disillusion. So it could be something that be really really difficult to work on if the person doesn't gain weight again. And luckily the brain starts to function again, in a normal way when they go back to a normal weight. So but there are many different things I wanted to say about the body distortion, because obviously what we see is not really what we are. And you all have the experience in the morning, maybe you see yourself in a certain way, and then in the evening you see yourself in another way in the mirror. And Yeah, there are many other things that I could say, but I don't go in that direction because I want to talk more about these other things. So people that you may recognize, maybe you could really relate to some of them. The postpartum mother who feels ruined, the man who trains obsessively to feel worthy, the teen who edits every photo that she posts on social media, the professional who hides in clothes, the aging adult afraid of invisibility, the bride who delays joy until the weight drops, the man who avoids intimacy with the light on. But this could be also women. I mean, in therapy, I had so many women that were doing the same. The woman is constantly comparing at events. The person teased in childhood is still carrying it, and the silent self-critic who smiles outside and fight inside. So different lines, same mechanism. So I gave these examples, but we could have hundreds of examples. And obviously, if you participate to the second part, maybe you could also say something more about these examples. Also, I'm sure that many people that are participating at this event are also here because maybe loved ones are having problems, and so they want to better understand the loved ones. So when shame activates, obviously the body reacts. We all know that. So heart rate increases, breathing changes, tense, and our brain interprets appearance as a threat. As I was saying, this is the why positive thinking does not work. So it's the nervous system that feels under threat. I said that also in many other webinars. So we need to really modulate the activation of the nervous system, and then we could start to have the prefrontal cortex, or again online. The prefrontal cortex is a part of our brain is really related to what we think. Um, and then there are other layers of our brain. There are the limbic areas that are more related to emotions and all these feelings. So again, if you register to Close by You, it's free. You can have the link for Zoom for the second part. It's going to be not video recorded, so you will be able to share your feedback, your questions, and also your eventually your issues, and we will support each other. So actually there is a child part of that we all have. So imagine that child that was living certain things when we were little, and that child is still inside of us. That child actually could be seen as our emotional part. So this younger part learn, if I look acceptable, I will not be rejected. So that part is actually a part that is feeling that way. And then what we tend to do is to try to protect ourselves. We don't want to be rejected. We don't want to really be teased. We want to receive love, attention, and praise. And so, how do we cope? Usually when the schemas activates, I was saying to you, we are flooded by very strong emotions, and then what we try to do is to try to modulate the activation of the schemas or what is happening around us. And what we usually do is obsess. Imagine you could be obsessed about food, shapes, and controlling of the diet and the shapes and so on. You can do body checking all the time. So you become obsessed with that, and you could think only about that, and then avoid. You could also avoid not thinking about these things. Try not to check the weight, not to check anything. So the opposite, you try to really not be there, and obviously it's not good at the same time. And you could compare. You could do comparing, usually what happens is when we compare always with people that are better than us. So usually when I do therapy, I with clients that have these problems, I always see that um, they are comparing with people that are seen as more beautiful, thinner, and taller, and more successful, always like that, as if the reality was only that. And then when we really broaden the perception of reality, we see the reality is a totally different um, uh, thing, totally different world. So we have people that are all different, and we are all human beings, and we cannot say that one human being is better than the other because has certain shapes. I know that our society says that, but uh, I mean, if we believe that, then we are actually having a very certain specific kind of thinking that was really not a very good thinking in the past, but also in the present, when we say that certain human beings are better than others, and they deserve more than others, and then we do we could keep being extreme and do certain things toward the people that don't deserve to live a certain kind of life. So it's a very, very extreme way of thinking, and actually is focusing on ourselves, and that is incredibly bad because as I was saying, it's changing our reality and our life. All three temporarily reduce anxiety. All these three ways reduce anxiety, but in the short term, but in the medium and long term, they reinforce shame, and so they put us in a vicious cycle in which we, if the shame is reinforced, then we have to keep doing more and more and more and more, and it's always like that. So the body is not the real fear. The real fear is not being loved, not being chosen, not being respected, not being enough. The body becomes the symbol of that fear. So all these things are really behind what we talk about, what we focus on, the body. It's much easier to focus on the body instead of focusing on, oh, I feel lonely. I feel that no one is loving me. I feel, I feel that I don't deserve love, or many other things like that. The point is you are not your body. So you are the one experiencing your body. So there is something much bigger than your body, and it's actually uh, I like the um, the people. Someone said we are not um, a spirit living in a body, but actually we are a body really containing a spirit. So it's more about the spirit, more about who we are. So you are the awareness behind the shame. You are something much bigger, and it's very difficult also to define that. It's very difficult to understand that because we are more on a different level, more on a very um, limited level, and so it's difficult to understand who we really are because we don't know. We never really dived into that. There is a deeper self that can observe, regulate, and choose differently. So when we look into the mirror, we could ask to ourselves, what am I feeling? So this is a first practical shift. Instead of going to, oh, how do I look? We could really focus on what am I feeling, and go to that. And why we do that? Because we said that behind the attention that we give to the body, there are schemas, emotional needs, and emotions, obviously. So we want to go to that level in order to really focus on what is really important for us. If we give an answer to those needs, so let's say a need to be loved, we give an answer to that love, need of be loved, then we create a change in ourselves. Um, so we are always focusing on the wrong aspect of the problem, trying to find solutions from the wrong for the wrong aspect of the problem. So there's a part of us that needs love, and we are if we're focusing on the weight and we try to lose weight, it's not about we're not giving to that part that needs love the love that that part needs. Uh, I always do this example about the person that is goes to the doctor. I gave this example also in other webinars. Goes to the doctor. The doctor says you have a severe illness and you have to take these medicines. And the person says, "Oh, I don't want to take those medicines. I just take some painkillers." So he took painkillers for weeks, and then he goes back to the doctor, and the doctor and he said, "Oh, look, I don't have the pain anymore, so the problem is gone." And the doctor said, "No, actually, your problem is worse now. You didn't took the right pills." So do you understand what my metaphor? If the problem needs certain things, and we're trying to suppress the pain, in that case the physical pain, but it could be the emotional pain, then we are not giving the right answer to those needs, to that part of us that needs something different, and so the problem increases. And in that case we could die, but in this case we die emotionally. So second practical shift, once we say, okay, what am I feeling, we go to an emotional level. We need to try to identify the voice inside of us. So, is that voice kind? When we say something to ourselves, let's say, "Oh, you are not good." Is that voice kind, or is that voice critical? Whose voice does it resemble? So, where does it come from? What really reminds to us? Because remember, everything we are thinking about ourselves was absorbed by messages, direct and indirect messages that were coming from the environment. So that, and then we start to repeat the same things with our voice in our mind, and so we learn to take care, nurture yourself, take care of ourselves in the way it was done when we were children. And actually, if someone was treating us badly, we learn to treat ourselves badly. So we repeat certain things, we judge ourselves, we see ourselves in certain ways. So that could be the internal critic. We all know what it is about, I think. So that is not a truth, it's actually false. But we believe that, we are used to believe that. So the third practical shift, we said, the first one, we go to the emotions, to the emotional level. Then we try to understand if the voice is kind, or if the voice is harsh or critic. And then the third practical shift is regulate before judging. So as I said, we need to try to modulate the activation of a nervous system. And so we want to do some exercises of grounding. We want to slow the breathing. We want to feel the feet grounded. So you um, you have bare feet, and you feel the ground, you feel the sensations. Then a soft eye contact with yourself, maybe in the mirror. So you can stay there like 19 seconds and breathe in, breathe out. And you also put the hands here on the chest and on the belly, and then you feel the warmth of your hands. And slowly, what is really doing this is really activating the vagal nerve in our brain. Vagal nerve is a very important nerve that has the possibility to really slow down the heart beating and put ourselves in a situation in a state in which we feel safe again. And then when we do that, we can we can start to try to do something more cognitive. Right? We said that at that moment the prefrontal cortex can start working again, and we could separate fact from story. So the fact is, this is my body today. Today I am this person, and this person has this body. And the story is I am unattractive and unworthy. So separate fact from stories. Say internally, this is a story I learned. Stories can be rewritten. So why we say that this is not a fact, but is a story? Because we see that people with same kind of body, or even let's say that you think that you have a, a certain shapes that are in your body that are not good enough, or you are overweight, you see yourself overweight. There are many people, when I say many, I mean many people that lie themselves with a body that is overweight. And there are many people very thin and with shapes that many others could think, oh, these are have incredible shapes, that feel really ugly, and see themselves very ugly, because it's not about a fact. It's about a story we have learned that we are saying to ourselves. So, and obviously it depends. It depends from all everything I said to you before. The fifth practical shift: rewrite the family script. So ask to yourself, when I say rewrite, you could really write down what was the message about bodies in my family. Because if we have this kind of issue, or we perceive ourselves in this kind of way, somewhere we learned that we didn't have this vision of ourselves uh, since we were in the crib. No, we learned that. We learn in environment. So then consciously we could try to replace that with my value is not conditional. Obviously we could say these things, but I don't not believe that. It's just I talk in another webinar about rational knowledge and emotional knowledge. When so I could say, oh, rationally I understand that, but emotionally I don't feel that. So we need to keep trying working on that in order to reach a point in which I can feel that that is real, that is the truth. So you could keep doing these things. And obviously, there are many other things that you could do and you could learn from the other videos. So just watch them and you will see. So my worth is not measured in kilos or muscles. Usually, what I also do is what we think and what we try to do in therapy is also to do some imagery exercises in which a person could go to those moments in which the body, the shapes, the where the center of the approval and or disapproval, and then we could work emotionally on that image. How really changing that image, introducing some relational ingredients that were missing in that image. So maybe an adult that could really do something different or say something different. And these image exercises are so powerful. Image practices are so powerful. They could really affect how you feel about yourself and how you perceive yourself. Obviously, it's not magic. You have to do that more and more and more. Sixth practical shift: interrupt comparison. Whenever you see, actually, I would suggest you to do that a notebook to really write down every time you do a comparison. Write down, because you will be surprised. You could take like a little notebook, and you could write down. Um, it's better if you do that handwriting instead of on your phone, but you could also use your phone. Every time you compare yourself to someone else, mm, uh, do that, or someone to someone else, uh, write it down. You will be shocked by how many times you do that in a day, and you really need to try to do not to do that. So because obviously whenever you do that, you are feeding that schema. So when comparing, say, different body, different genetics, different life, everything is different. I had sorry I had so many people that were trying to lose weight, and they were not eating, and it was so difficult to lose weight for them, and then they were watching, comparing themselves with someone else that was very thin, with different shapes, and that was eating a lot and not gaining weight, and they were saying, "Oh, I'm failing. Now, look, she's able to. I'm failing." But it's not that we are failing. We are all different. We are all different. We cannot be like someone else. We are ourselves, and we. It's much better to really learn to love ourselves. Seven, practical shift, practical body neutrality. So you do not need to love every detail. You can respect your body as your home. Shift from evaluation to care. So I go a bit faster because we are very late actually. Practice being seen. So small exposure. Remember, not seeing emotion is as an aspect of the problem. Keep the light on, stay in photos, wear what feels authentic, presence weakens shame. So the ninth practical shift, anchor identity in values. If your body changed tomorrow, what would remain? So imagine your body is changing completely, and what would remain? Your kindness, your intelligence, your humor, your integrity, your compassion. Remember what I was saying about the dietitian that was working with me? She was raised in a way that she was developing certain things. And so many different aspects of her were mirrored back to her, and she was really nurturing those different aspects and developing in a different way. So you are much more than you think. You're not just the body. You're much more. You just have to be curious. You just need to. You just need to give to yourself everything you need to really uh, make these different aspects grow and really express themselves at their full potential. So, okay, you could do this exercise later. It's a little exercise, one that you could do when you whenever you want. So the conclusion could be you were not born hating your body, as we said. It's not about being born like that. You learn that. And what is learned can be unlearned. Obviously, it's more difficult. You need more time. You need the right work, but it's possible, and you actually better to do that. Your worth does not live in your weight. It does not live in your age. It does not live in your shape. It lives in your capacity to love, to connect, to think, to grow, to develop in general, to care. The mirror can remain a judge, or it can become a meeting place. So you can really meet yourself as you are with all the different aspects. You are not a body trying to earn value. You are a person who already has it. So I usually say to my child, you don't need to do anything to be loved by me. The only thing that you had to do, you already did it, and it was being born. and you did it. You are here now, and you don't have to do anything different, anything else. That's it. And so I hope you enjoy this webinar. I know the topic is so deep, so big that we focus only on a very tiny aspect. But I think I wanted to really give some clear informations, and maybe we will do another one in which we will give many more informations. Obviously, you could always contact me. But I would like you to also to invite you to participate to the second part. So go to the Zoom link. You register to close by you, and go to the page of the event, and then click on the link where the red circle is. You can go on Zoom, and I'm gonna be there in 2 minutes. So I'll see you there in 2 minutes. It's gonna be very nice, very important for you. I want to say thank you for being here, also for some of you for the first time, and I hope to see you all to all our future events. Bye bye.